Good morning, guys. Okay, so today I'm going to show you how I make my homemade dry stuffing mix that I will then put in bags and seal them up for when we use them or for Thanksgiving. I will tell you this recipe is also really good if you mix a little with like your meatloaf instead of crackers or oats or cornflakes or whatever you use. But so what we're going to do is we're going to use a lot of leftover bread. I've recently begun making my own bread, so there's plenty of stale bread here. To keep it, by the way, you could, as you get stale bread, just stick it in your freezer, and then when you're ready to make this, pull it out, let it thaw, and this we're going to cut up into cubes and toast it. So we'll be doing that in a minute, but you need about 11 cups of dried breadcrumbs. If you cut this recipe in half, you'd need about 5.5 cups. And if you're doing smaller batches, you might consider doing that. But okay, so we're going to need salt and pepper. You're going to need some dried celery. Now, this calls for, you can just get it at the store, but I actually happen to have had some that I dehydrated, so I'm going to use this. This might actually be enough, need a half a cup, but we're going to use that. You need dried onions, which just use onion flakes, dried parsley, got that somewhere, yep, dried parsley. Going to need some poultry seasonings, and I have some turkey seasoning and some complete seasoning, so we'll make it out of that. Dried sage, we've got some red sage here, and 2 chicken bouillon cubes. I've got these, so we'll use those, and a pinch of oregano, and we're just going to use Italian seasoning, and dried green onion or chives, whatever you want to put in there. So, okay, so I'm going to get started on cutting up my bread and cubing it, and I'm going to put it, the cube bread, in the oven at 350 degrees. Bake the cubes for 10 to 15 minutes. You don't want to burn them, so keep an eye on them, but make sure they're fairly toasty. They're not soft and squishy. You want to make sure they're really dried out and really toasty. So we're going to do that, and then we'll come back. Okay, y'all, so I've got my bread cut up into cubes, and I'm going to preheat my oven to 350 degrees while I get these on baking sheets. And y'all, I want to show you, don't be afraid to use whatever bread you've got lying around that's old and stale. I mean, honestly, just make sure it's not moldy or to that point. Like I said, if you find some and want to save it, pop it in your freezer until you're ready to make a batch. But let me show you. I've used, let's see, mini sub buns, hot dog buns, a bag of the ends of homemade bread, and some leftover Sunbeam honey wheat bread. So yeah, use whatever you've got. I mean, bread's bread. It all tastes good in the end. It mixes really well. So yeah, so I'm going to preheat the oven, get these started, and we'll be back to mix our spices. Okay, y'all, while our bread is toasting, I'm going to mix together our seasoning mix, and I've already got in here my 2 chicken bouillon cubes crushed up. Don't worry, it'll all get mixed together in a minute. So now I'm going to add this. This is just a little over a half cup, so probably about 3/4 cup. But I'm going to go ahead and add it all anyway. I mean, this recipe is really easy to make your own. You can add more of one thing or less of another, whatever you don't like, leave out, etc. So just going to leave that in there. Mush that around. Okay, so now we need 4 tablespoons of dried onion. So get this here. Let's see if we can do it while holding the camera. Okay. There's one. Three, four. There's just something about dried onion that already smells like stuffing. Okay, so we've got our dried onion. Now we want 3 tablespoons of parsley. And this is parsley that I've dried. So, yay for more homemade. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so got a parsley. Shut this here. Okay, and then we want, let's see, 1.5 teaspoon poultry seasoning. So what we're going to do is I've got turkey seasoning, which I imagine is the exact same thing, but anyway. So we're going to do a teaspoon, because it calls for 1.5 teaspoons. I'm going to do a teaspoon of turkey seasoning, and then, if I can find it here, 1/2 teaspoon of this complete seasoning here. Okay, so we've got those. Now we need 1 teaspoon of dried sage. Here we've got our sage. So find my teaspoon again. Put that in there. Okay, and a pinch of salt and pepper. So I don't know what's a good pinch. Let's just a little bit more. Okay, and now to do the pepper, I'm going to have to set down the camera, so we'll add in the dried oregano, a pinch of dried oregano. Again, I'm using Italian seasoning, so, but we'll give a good pinch of that in there. Okay, so I'm going to do a few cranks on the peppermill in here, and then I'm going to stir this all up with my hands, make sure it's all together, and we will be back. Okay, y'all, so I've got my dry mix here mixed together, and I've done this separately so that I can, after I put the breadcrumbs in my bags, I can equally dump this in the 2 bags. So I'm making 2 bags. What I've got equals about 2 bags. So I've got my bags out here. I've got my labels ready. I would just write this on the bag, but that was a lot of writing, and these have little things on them, so it's harder to write on these, but unless I'm just writing a date and a name. But I had instructions that go with these. So basically, after it's all done, when you're ready to use it, you can mix to your desired consistency with 1.25 cups of water and 2 tablespoons of butter, and I wrote the date on it. What this means is if that's not enough water, add some more. If that's too much water, take some out, etc. So yeah, but these will go on after I put the stuff in here and then seal them up, because it might crinkle it right off, and we don't want to do that. So yeah, another good idea, y'all, is if you just wanted to make up the stuffing seasoning mix and store it, that'd be a really good idea too, because then you could make the breadcrumbs fresh and use your mix fresh with your breadcrumbs whenever you wanted. So, and it'd be a lot less to store. So that was another batch of breadcrumbs, so I better check them and take them out and get another one in. Okay guys, so I've got my breadcrumbs. I let them cool to about, room temperature, and I've divided them up between my two bags here. So now what I'm going to do is, with my spoon here, is divide this up as evenly as I can by doing, one in one bag, one in another, if I can get it to open up here. Okay, yeah. And then one another. And I'm just going to keep doing that until I've used all the seasoning. Okay, I've divided my seasoning and I've in each bag. I've given it a little bit of a shake, but a lot of it will settle, but it's all in there, in both of them. So now I'm going to seal them shut and put their stickers on them, and they'll be ready to go. Okay, and checking the seal. Yep. Put my sticker on here. And I'm ready to store it until I'm ready to use it. And these should last for a while because we've dehydrated dried out the bread and sucked out all the air. So it should be good for a little while. So definitely until we use it. So there you go. It's another video. Hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see you in the next one.